Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nobody Asked Me Guy show. Guys, listen, as always, we feel that we have a special show. Tonight, we know we have a special show with none other than the incomparable Dr. Larry C. Daniels. Now, let me give you a precursor here. Many times when the weather is acting up and the weather is bad, sometimes we may have some internet issues, which we seem to be having right now. Dr. Daniels is on the set electronically, and we are maneuvering to get his camera up and going and get it straight. So we just want to thank each and every one of you for being here with us on the Nobody Asked Me Guy show. We want to welcome Kendera, and we always share with all of our guests and our audience as well that you can FaceTime our guests and ask them the questions directly, or you can put those questions in the box as you will see on your computer over to your left. And we have several monitors, so many times you won't be able to see other individuals that are with us live right now on Periscope, that's with us live on YouTube, that's with us live on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. So again, good afternoon and thank you for joining us. We have with us none other than Dr. Larry C. Daniels. Now, excuse me, as I said, because of some of our internet glitches, Dr. Daniels is in the room, in the virtual room, but we're having some internet glitches right now. Just to tell you a little bit about Dr. Daniels, he's a Wiley College graduate, University of Texas Med School attendee. He hails from Lindale, Texas. And guys, he was at Lindale High School star quarterback. Yes, that's right. That's what I said. Dr. Larry C. Daniels was the Lindale High School star quarterback. But we are fortunate enough to have him now as a resident here in Shreveport, Louisiana, where he's been practicing medicine, not only here, but other places in excess of 25 plus years. Now, we will be speaking this evening on our topic. We'll be talking about challenges faced by physicians while juggling their professions with their everyday lives. Now, we all know that as professionals, it is sometimes very challenging, very difficult to be able to juggle what we do with our families as opposed to how they relate to our jobs. We will talk a little bit about various topics, subjects rather, is one topic, but various subjects that lend themselves to the topic. I'm getting tongue tied here because I'm a little frustrated with the internet right now. So please forgive me for that. But we will discuss several entities that's all related to our topic. And as Dr. Daniels continue to prepare to try to get on the camera, we will continue to work. And I tell you what, Dr. Daniels, if you can hear me, we can get the process started also via telephone. And then once we get our cameras rolling, if we will get the video as well. So if you will phone me via telephone, I will put my telephone on the speaker and we will begin this process so that we will not bore our audience with me talking because they're certainly not here to hear me. So if you'll dial me, then I'll put you on voicemail and we'll get the process started while we continue to try to get the video bugs worked out via internet. Okay, Dr. Daniels, can you hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, now the audience can hear you as well, and we just want to welcome you again to the Nobody Asked Me Guy show. We have done a short intro, talked about your stint at Wiley College and you attend the University of Texas med school, and I of course let them know that you are a former star high school quarterback from the great state of Texas, more specifically Lindale, and we've talked about the number that you've practiced in excess of 25 years. So as we roll and get started, and as we continue to try to work out these glitches, Dr. Daniels, I want to just share with you that I've already let our audience know that they can come on and do FaceTime with you, or they can put their questions in the box to the left. So how are you doing this evening, Dr. Daniels?
Doing good. How you doing, Melvin?
Listen, I cannot complain. I'm excited that you're here. I'm obviously not happy with the internet, but I know how it does, and we have glitches. So listen, would you tell us a little bit more about your background and becoming a physician?
Well, I've been a physician since 1983. I graduated from medical school from the University of Texas in Houston in 1983, and I've enjoyed my opportunity and privilege to serve, mostly in the state of Louisiana. And so initially I became interested in being a physician around, when I was in the 10th grade, 11th grade in high school. For some reason, I really enjoyed biology. I really enjoyed science. And there was a physician in this little town of Lindale, Texas, where I grew up, Dr. Kinsey, who was the only doctor in town who would come and pick me up and take me to his clinic and let me do his yard, do his hedges. Then I would go to his home that he had in town, and I would do his yard and do his hedges there. Then he would take me out to his lake house, Hideaway Lake, Lindale, Texas, and I would do his yard and his property in Hideaway Lake. He'd come pick me back up, take me home, and pay me. I didn't have transportation. I didn't have a ride at that time, so I was really impressed by the fact that he was willing to invest some time and interest in me. And then later on, I continued to have an interest in medicine because I thought that was going to allow me to have a career that would be exciting and also generate some income and just do the things that I wanted to do and stay interested in healthcare. So anyway, I did matriculate to Wiley College, Marshall, Texas, and I attended 4 years of college there. Had some professors, great professors, who instilled in me the need for more African American physicians. Years of Wiley College and being broke and being taking tests all this time, I decided after 4 years I was not going to go to any more college, to any more school. I wasn't going to take any more tests. I was going to sit in any more classrooms. That was my decision at the end of 4 years from Wiley. I did receive a degree in biology and a minor in chemistry. But after working 2 years, going to medical school, my professors from Wiley used to fuss at me when I would go home to visit Marshall. Often I would run into some of my college professors, and when I was still working in the chemical plant, they would say, "You not know plant material. You supposed to be in medical school. If you wind up staying in the plant and working and buying a house and getting married and getting a car, you ain't gonna never go back to school. So, boy, you better get on back in school." I remember Miss Kelly, who was my psychology professor at Wiley, telling me that. And eventually I did get back into medical school, and they were very pleased that was my decision at that time. And since that time, like I said, I went to medical school, was able to graduate in 1983, came to LSU Medical Center in Shreveport, did family practice residency, and have been working mainly in underserved, low-income community health centers since that time. And I've enjoyed the privilege and opportunity to practice medicine.
Well, I can certainly tell you this, Dr. Daniels. As you know, I can speak personally, man. You are a beloved figure here in Shreveport, Louisiana, and surrounding areas, and it's just a pleasure to have you in the vicinity. Listen, we do have guests here, and I just want to share with them again, Dr. Daniels, if they want to come on while we're hopefully these glitches will be worked out via our internet. But if they want to come on and FaceTime and ask you some questions, I've let them know they're welcome to do so, or they can put their questions in the box to the left. But listen, as we move on.
Unfortunately, it's raining here in Keithville, and sometimes that does play havoc with the internet, so I apologize for that.
Well, listen, that's totally out of your control, and that's not a problem. Now, you mentioned initially first deciding, like many of us that have gone to our various colleges and universities, that after having gone through the rigors of getting those initial degrees, and we decide to sit on the sideline for a minute, maybe not pursuing, and your mentors impressed upon you enough that you decide to go to medical school, and the rest is history. But during that trek, can you share with us any maybe professional or personal trepidations and maybe roadblocks that may have occurred that you did not expect when you made that decision to go to medical school?
Well, when I decided to go to medical school, people that I knew were concerned that, number one, that I didn't come from a wealthy family, and that would I have enough money to be able to attend medical school. There were those who felt like if I'm going to Wiley College, that Wiley College was not preparing me adequately to compete in medical school. Though there were those who had some opinions that later proved to not be true. And there were others who, you're black, you coming from the South, you just don't have what it takes to become a physician. And also the finances was the main thing. I had done research and found out that if you had the grades, you had the desire, and you were able to complete the medical college admission test and make an adequate score, there would be a number of resources that would support you. I considered the Army, I considered the Navy, I considered the Air Force, but I decided on the National Health Service Corps, which paid my way through medical school 4 years. And by doing that, I was obligated to spend 4 years at least working in an underserved area. I could either go to an underserved community, I could work an Indian reservation, or I could work in a federal prison. Those were the choices to complete my service or to pay back the amount of money that was paid on my behalf by the National Health Service Corps, which I really appreciated that was an opportunity for me, because I could not have afforded to go to medical school from my own finances or from my family's finances. Mm-hmm. So there were others who said to me, you're going to Wiley College, they don't have any kind of reputation, they don't have any kind of ability to prepare you for medical school, so even if you get in, you're not going to be able to compete. And I have to admit that there were some concerns there initially, but I was able to overcome whatever doubts. One of the professors at Wiley told me that because I made very good grades, I made A's most of the time, I'm not bragging, but that was what I made. He told me that he thought that I would be competitive. Support me in letters of recommendation, and that's Dr. Samir Shelbaya, was a professor at Wiley College at that time, and he was my mentor and guided me into getting into medical school and finishing up. But the main obstacles I had was just some minor self-doubt initially because of what people were saying, but once I got in the classroom, and I was in the school with some very smart, intelligent people, doctors that were there from Harvard, from Yale, from Rice, from LSU, from University of Texas, and I was the only African American from a predominantly black school. There were 4 other African Americans in the class with me. 2 of those attended Harvard University, and one of them went to the University of Texas in Arlington. Robert Wilcott, my real good friend, who's now a surgeon in Texas. But anyway, those initial doubts soon faded away once I was able to get in and compete. I did have to stay up longer some nights. I did have to study harder. I did, because some of the information was a little bit new to me. Some of the students had come from 3rd, 4th generation of doctors, and they were very familiar with the terminology associated with becoming a physician or talking the physician talk, pronouncing all these big words that I was hearing for the first time. So I initially had to, study and buckle down and practice pronouncing the words, practice doing things that I just basically hadn't been something I had been exposed to when I was, in college or prior to that time. I can recall the very first day of medical school that the professor gave a very long, complicated lecture, and I was just completely baffled. I didn't hardly understand much of it, and my friend Robert Wilcott, we looked at each other and we could see on each other's face that we were in trouble. If this is what we got to learn, we not going to make it. It was just written all over both our faces. So at the end of about 2 hours, the professor said, "Is there any questions?" And we looked at each other like, what? What kind of questions could anybody have with this lecture? So anyway, one guy down in the front row raised his hand and asked a very long, complicated question. And the professor shot back a very long, complicated answer. And we looked at each other again and we said, man, we're if we're supposed to know how to ask a question like that and get an answer and understand it, then we are in trouble, because the only thing I could have asked was that, could you please repeat the whole lecture more slowly and tell me, what are you talking about? Because I understood nothing. I was so nervous. But as time went by, I was able to regroup and recognize that, my mother and father, they were school teachers that taught me to, persevere. I pledged Omega Psi Phi at Wiley College, perseverance, uplift, scholarship. So I fell back on, and also my uncles and aunties who taught me a lot of lessons as I was growing up on the farms in East Texas, how to persevere and how to, rethink things and figure out things and move forward. So I was able to overcome some of those initial doubts by myself and others who thought that I would be able to achieve this medical education.
Wow, that's powerful in and of itself, which brings us to the next question. And all of us are generally asked this question in some form or fashion. So I'm just going to ask you, as a physician, in a world that describes us as people of color, were you concerned that your fate could possibly be in the hands of those that were not comfortable with you being a, quote, Black doctor, unquote?
Well, I initially thought that I would not, encounter a lot of difficulty simply because I'm thinking, surely people accept the fact that I'm educated. I have some training, I have a degree, I have some knowledge. But I did encounter some individuals who certainly were not comfortable with me. Initially, I was not able to. I didn't pick it up initially, but as time went by, I was able to read body language. I could read people's eyes. I could tell if they were not comfortable with me just based on their interaction with me. So and I was on a pediatric rotation on my third year of medical school, and I can recall very vividly one Caucasian lady had a child that needed to be admitted to the hospital. And I went in to examine the child because prior to us admitting the child to the floor, we had to do an exam and present it to the resident and then, get some guidance on what we should do to treat the child. So I went in initially to ask the lady to let me examine the child because we had to, do our assessment. And the lady told me, well, the child was sleeping and she preferred me not to wake him up. So I said, well, ma'am, we really do need to do the exam because I have to make a presentation within an hour and the child can go back to sleep. There was something in her eyes, something in her body language that told me that she was not going to let me touch her child. So I eventually relinquished and decided, okay, I'm going to go let the resident know. I let the resident know. I said, I really am disappointed, but I was not able to examine this baby. The mother insisted that the baby was fired, had been punched on, poked on prior in the emergency room. She felt like that the baby needed to be rested. And I said, I really have a feeling that perhaps it could be something to do with my race. I'm not going to push that. I'm not going to be whining about that, but I really feel like that's part of it. And so about 4 hours later, I ran into the resident and he said, Larry, you were right. I said, what are you talking about? He said, that lady, she didn't want you to examine her child because she's Black. I said, okay, well, I appreciate your honesty and everything. So we discussed for a moment the situations that I was going to encounter as a Black physician, that there were going to be some patients that would not accept me. And to my surprise, as I practiced medicine over 34 or 5 years that I've been in practice, there have been some African-American Black patients who did not want me to be their physician also. That wasn't. They're not been many, but
Yeah.
there have been some. So, and that doesn't always have to do with race. It may have to do with maybe they encountered a physician who, for whatever reason, they didn't have a good interaction with, and perhaps they were just reacting to me because I was the same color or reminded them of something in that physician. So I've always philosophically felt like that if they would give me a chance, I would be able to, win them over. And for the most part, that's what's happened. I've had patients share with me after they maybe saw me for a year. I'm talking about Caucasian patients who initially didn't know the clinic they were coming to. They would be seeing an African-American physician. And then after there was some interaction, maybe for a year or so, they admitted to me that when they first came, they really weren't comfortable with me. They thought they were going to change doctors, but they kept coming back. And then some of them said, don't sound like I'm bragging, but they said it was the best decision they ever made. If I had been able to show them that I was willing to listen when some of the other physicians they had gone to did not listen, would not listen, and they felt like it was the best decision, and it was just the great that they had decided to stay and allow me to serve them and become their physician. So I was very humbled by some of their comments that they would make if they gave me a chance to prove that I was able and capable and competent to take care of their medical needs.
Excellent. Doc, that is very well, very, very well put. And quite frankly, it catapults us right into our next question. Now, physicians are not only responsible for gaining the confidence and trust of their patients, as it pertains to their health. Many times they unknowingly become the voice of said patients in personal matters. How difficult is it to gently maneuver those waters?
Yeah, I've been humbled too by some of the times that I've had situations where, in particular, my favorite patients or I love all my patients, but my favorite patients are the ladies that remind me of my grandmother and my aunties and my mother. Those patients, for whatever reason, those Black women who have gone through so much and contributed so much but don't get a lot of credit for it. Those women, when they would come in, sometimes they would adopt me. And they would adopt me as their stepson or their son or their whatever they decided to have me as. And so I just really had a lot of some of my colleagues called them my sweetie pies because they didn't want to see nobody but Dr. Daniel. So they were my sweetie pies.
Okay. Well, listen, some of
them would go to the point to where they wanted me to take over their personal business and they wanted to will things to me or they wanted to dedicate things to me. And I would share with them that was ethically I couldn't do that because it would be a conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to gently persuade them that we would need to talk to a social worker or a case manager or get someone else that would be willing to help them with their either financial or with their other types of questions that they had that they thought that they trusted me to do. But I would explain to them I couldn't participate in that because it would become an ethical conflict.
Right. Well, that's wow. That certainly was one of the questions that I wanted us to talk about tonight because I know how things can be, and with you being my personal physician, I'm not ashamed to let our audience know that is that I know it was the best decision I made, and I know there are many times you and I have discussions, and sometimes I'll laugh when I leave your office. I'll be saying it's bad enough the man has got to try to keep me above the ground, that I'm putting other stuff on him. So I can certainly attest to that. But listen, let me ask this. Now, wearing the hats of husband, father, son, brother, and friend, it would appear that one would almost have to be a musician to balance these responsibilities by themselves, let alone carrying the torch of being a physician. Now, knowing that everyone is expecting a miracle when it comes to their medical situation, do you find this difficult at times?
Well, very much so. There have been times when it was very difficult to balance the needs of our patients, the needs of the community, and also manage the needs of family members and friends at the same time. So you run into a situation where you have to make the best decision and provide the best care you can. But sometimes, even with that, you feel like you're falling short. So, like I say, having children who are very manable, and I'm proud of both my children, Gerard and Alexis. Sometimes there was time when, you think you're getting ready to be off at 5 or 6 o'clock, so you normally spend time with the children, but something comes up and you need to take extra time to solve a problem, help a patient, help a family, patients. Sometimes you have to make a call to another physician to advocate on behalf of that patient. Sometimes you have to call hospital, emergency rooms. Sometimes it's social services. Sometimes it's the Medicare office or the welfare office or the Social Security office. Sometimes it's a number of agencies that when you're dealing, and mainly this is coming from the standpoint that I served in mainly underserved, low-income community health centers like David Lane's Community Health Center and others, where I learned a lot from my patients and from their families and the community. And at times you have to, sometimes when patients come, they need a friend more so than they need a doctor.
Okay.
Sometimes they need encouragement more so than they need medication. They always need prayer. So sometimes we have to bow our head and pray and come up with a solution that's going to be outside of what any medicine or any surgery or any operation or any other type of medical intervention is going to provide, because that's not the answer. So I had to learn that, because when I was in medical school, we were taught, you see a patient, they come in, the blood pressure is high, sugar is high. You write a prescription for medicine X, medicine B. You give them 500 milligrams of this, 20 milligrams of this, 30 milligrams of that. Then you wait, see if they get well. Well, when my patients come and tell me, well, Dr. Daniels, I ain't got no money, I ain't got no insurance. And so not only am I not going to be able to get this medicine, but that food you told me to eat, not eat, I don't think I'm going to be able to afford that diet. So then they looking at me, it's like, okay, well, what you going to do? So, it becomes a little bit of a challenge to figure out, well, I don't remember taking a test over that. They didn't teach us no words in medical school. Then when you had a patient that had no money and had no support, no resources, and they were down on their luck and they were depressed and anxious, then what do you do? So at that point, the only thing I knew was that, those medical textbooks taught me a lot about immunology, biochemistry, anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, all that. I had all that knowledge, but I'm sitting there in front of me in front of me is a patient who none of that is really going to help right now. Know I saw all of this stuff. So, but I did know of a book. It's called the Bible, and in there was scripture, and in there were different encouraging things that I could rely on, and I could share that with my patient when nothing else was available. And we would do that sometimes, and that's how I have grown spiritually, by listening to what my patients have, but recognizing that God is in control. And if He wants patients to have medicine, if He wants them to have cure, if He wants them to have health, He can provide that. We just have to be obedient, and we have to be prayerful and just maintain that, rather than getting frustrated and irritated by the fact that we don't know everything and we don't have all the material things that we feel like we ought to always have.
Doc, as you share that, being inundated with other people's problems, when do you find time to relax and to breathe?
Well, it's been a struggle through the years to come up with my own strategy for how I'm going to take care of myself. Because one of the tenets of medicine, and one of the things you hear about all the time is physician, heal thyself. And so if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't take time to take care of your health, you're going to have to take time to get well. That's what my good friend, Dr. Leonard Weather, told me about my health. I suffered a medical problem a few years ago whereby I had to rethink things about my life and about my lifestyle. I wound up having a stroke. In 2011, I was working different jobs, doing different things, taking care of my mother at that time, who was elderly and had some medical problems. And I was working in the emergency room trying to pay off some taxes that I owed. And at one point in time, I wound up I didn't pay attention to my blood pressure, didn't pay attention to my health, and I wound up having a stroke. And during the time that I was in the ICU at LSU Medical Center in Shreveport, I had a lot of time to reflect and to think. And it humbled me greatly. So at that point, I realized I needed to figure out how to take better care of myself, because if I wasn't around, I wouldn't be around to take care of my children, see my grandchildren, take care of my family, take care of my patients. So I needed to rethink that. So at this point in my life, I actually just take advice from others, take time away at the end of the day. I just sometimes just shut things out. If there's not a life and death situation facing me, just relax, do some reading, do some gardening, spend time with my family in a productive way that allows me to just get away from all the stress, and then try to just get a good night's sleep. And then I don't get as much exercise as I like to, but that's one of my goals now, is to set up an exercise program where I'll be back in better shape with that. Try to eat a good, well-balanced diet, eat healthy. I also, during this time when I had the stroke, found out I had diabetes. Now I take medication for that also. So I'm not unlike many of my patients who have multiple medical problems and multiple medications that have to be taken on a daily basis. But I try to find time to meditate, to look at the blessings that I have been blessed with, and take some time to go visit family and friends as much as I can, and just take care of Larry.
Okay, well, Doc, you know what? This is as you share that, and you probably see me smiling at you, because we've all often heard that doctors are the worst patients. Now, is that true, false, or circumstantial?
I would have to agree with that. In my career, whenever I've had to treat a doctor or a nurse, for that matter, those are the most difficult people to get to comply and do what they're supposed to do. I think they know too much, and when you tell them what they need to do, they have a different way and they have a different approach, and so it is very difficult to treat a doctor or a doctor's family or a nurse's family, because some kind of way everybody feels like they have a different opinion about what they ought to take and what they shouldn't take, and what would work and what won't work. So it is very true. I can't deny that that's a true statement that my experience has been a true finding, a true fact.
Okay. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you all night. Let me, if you will, let's our great governor of Louisiana, Governor John Bel Edwards, has championed this fight against this COVID-19 virus, and he continues to work with physicians relative to its eradication. Now, please share your thoughts, ideas, and opinions, not only on the work that he's doing, but this overall pandemic and how it affects the disenfranchised.
Yeah, I think Governor Edwards has done an outstanding job in terms of providing leadership and guidance through this difficult time that we're facing with this coronavirus, COVID-19 epidemic. And this is a very difficult situation, because it's not only affecting people's physical health, mental health, psychological health, but it's also affecting the financial health of not only individuals, but family and the states and the United States as a whole. So we're struggling to find some meaning in this crisis. We're struggling to find some answers and what's the best way out. And as every day I'm able to listen to Governor Edwards and what he's been able to do in terms of providing that type of leadership and that type of answer. And so very sound, very poised, and very thoughtful guidance that we've received. Okay. And of course, I think that we're starting to see a leveling off of some of the cases. We're starting to see a leveling off of this crisis, but it will take a while for us to get back to a normal type of life like we've known prior to this virus hitting. And we just have to remain faithful and stay prayed up and trust God to give us a solution to this, because doctors, researchers, the epidemiologists, the immunologists, the specialists who are all now working on trying to solve this problem, developing a vaccine, developing a medication, developing some treatment, and developing tests that will be adequate for us to know where we are staying. Those are things that we're working on, but we still have to recognize that it's going to take all of us working together as a team to overcome this. And I think that we're just going to have to continue to work harder and be faithful and not stress out, not become depressed, but to just look for a better time to come. I think the next 2 months is going to be very telling in terms of when we can get back to normal, but I wish it was going to be sooner, but I just feel like in my gut that it's going to take at least 2 months to sort through everything and get all the people that's going to get infected. Fortunately, some of the people are going to die. Unfortunately, some of us are going to be sick with flu and we'll get better, but we gotta stay the course. We gotta persevere, and we will overcome. We shall overcome.
I hear you. Well, listen, it's certainly been great having you on tonight, Dr. Larry C. Daniels. And again, our audience, if you have any questions or you want to FaceTime Dr. Daniels, please grab one of those areas that say grab this spot. Those are cameras, and ask your questions that you might ask. We're going to not hold Dr. Daniels all night here, Doc. Doc, as we close our segment, is there one or a group of things that you'd like to share or caution people about as we continue to talk about COVID-19? I mean, I know when you and I talked earlier, we know that, any station you turn on, everybody's talking about it. Is there anything that you'd like to say locally to the people or anything you'd like to share before we end this conversation?
Well, as far as the COVID-19, yeah, we want to encourage people to continue the guidance that we're receiving from the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, from the state health department, and from our doctors, Dr. Fauci, who's working with the administration in Washington, D.C. to try to give guidance on the social distances, the social distancing, actually physical distancing. We can still stay in touch with each other, but we want to do that in order to prevent people from spreading it so that they'll overwhelm the healthcare system. And it seems like that's starting to work. Continue to wash hands, cover your mouth when you cough, sneeze, or cough into your elbow, and to make sure that now we need to wear a mask when you go out. There's a lot of controversy over who should wear a mask, when they should wear a mask. I think it would be a good idea to wear some masks. I know there's shortages in certain areas, but we can make masks. We can figure out creative ways to cover up our face so we don't breathe in any unnecessary pathogens, or that we would take care of ourselves and that we would try to eat healthy. I don't think any of these products that are put on the market saying that they're a cure or saying that this is going to make you more healthy than others. If you eat a good balanced diet, may want to take a general purpose multivitamin, vitamin C, certainly something that many people talk about that could be beneficial. And getting plenty of rest, and just maintaining a mental state where you don't let things stress you out. And I know it's difficult, but we're like I say, having to make sure that we meditate, pray, and try to relax as much as possible, consider the circumstances.
Okay, and allow me to say hello to Luke. Luke joined us late. Luke, we're glad you're here. Unfortunately, we are getting ready to close this segment. However, if you have a question for Dr. Daniels, please feel free. If you'd like to FaceTime him, grab one of those cameras or write that question there. But we appreciate you being here. And while we're waiting on Luke to respond, let me say to our audience that we are really appreciative of you being here. As I'm listening to Dr. Daniels, as you guys are, I'm seeing many of you guys sending up a lot of thumbs and hearts, which indicates to us, obviously, that you appreciate what he's sharing. Again, allow me the opportunity to apologize for, excuse me, for our internet glitches. As you can see, you see Dr. Daniels' name down in the corner for the camera, but you can't see him. And there's an internet glitch, and we just do apologize to you guys for that. So again, we want to thank all of our guests for being here. And we do encourage you, quite honestly, before I ask Dr. Daniels to tell you guys how you can contact him. We encourage each and every one of you that either know him personally or those of you that are looking for physicians. Well, obviously it have to be in the general area, Louisiana, East Texas, that type thing, where he is located. If you're looking for a physician, please do not hesitate. Excellent doctor. I can speak to this matter for myself. I refer to him as my guardian angel, and we have a 30-year history of going back to the days when he and unfortunately the oncologist all thought that 30 years ago that he and I wouldn't be able to sit here and have this conversation tonight. And he talks about God, so he's already explained to you. So I don't need to go any further as to why we're still sitting here along with his care. So we just want to again thank all you guys for being here with us tonight on Nobody Asked Me Guy show. Dr. Daniels, will you please share with our guests how they might contact you if they want to have further discussion, or if they're looking for a physician, or if they want to refer individuals to a physician?
They can contact me at phone number would be 318-429-2443. And that would be, with one of the clinics that I work with, that we would be able to try to entertain any questions or assist you with any medical services that you might need.
Okay. And let me say, as we release Dr. Daniels from this segment, I am Melvin Lars, and Nobody Asked Me Guy. You guys can contact me at www.dyingonmyfeet.com. Once you get to that site, you will find all of my social media outlets there. And also, as you can see in the background, I'm an author. My latest book, and coming up to Mother's Day, quite frankly, guys, our latest book is called Mothers and Their Men, an introspective look at mothers rearing their sons. There's nothing on the market like it. No one talks to moms. No one talks to the son. We just all assume that we understand life and that we understand, quote, single parenting. But this book is not about single parenting. It's about moms and their sons, and it's written from a mother's perspective. We did a survey. We were blessed to have over 500 moms of various racial origins to respond, and they were moms from all genres, from moms receiving social assistance all the way to moms with PhDs. And I'm telling you, you'll find it to be a very interesting book. It's not a book about telling anybody how to rear their children. It's a conversation. So please, if you feel like you'd like to read that book, and I hope you do, you can get that book from Barnes & Noble, or you can go to my website, or you can give us a call at 440-935-0374. Again, guys, thank you so very much for joining us on the Nobody Asked Me Guy show. And we want to thank our guest, Dr. Larry C. Daniels. Now, next week, if you're not doing anything Friday night, come back and join us again. We're going to have none other than Dr. Shindale Seal. Dr. Shindale Seal is, a diversity moderator, trainer. And she's also a activist. She's a writer, etc. So come back and let's talk with Dr. Seal. So again, Dr. Daniels, if you don't have any parting statements, we want to bid all of our listeners good night.
Good night.